Voters across 5 states cast their ballots to help shape the future of Congress in primary elections on Tuesday. But it is a shockingly close special election showing for Democrat Michael Kripchak in a blue-collar rural Ohio district that Trump carried by 29 points in 2022. That's really got people talking.
It's Ken Harbaugh with Against All Enemies on the MeidasTouch Network. Today, we've got a special guest, Mike Kripchak, who recently lost a special election here in the Ohio 6th for the U.S. House. And even though he didn't get the W, that race has been viewed as a massive potential warning sign for Republicans in November. Mike, welcome to the show. Can you tell us a bit about your district and why a Democrat losing by 9 points there is bad for Republicans?
Well, thanks for having me on, first of all, of course. So my district runs from Mahoning down to Washington County. So we say Mahoning down to Marietta and parts of Stark County and parts of Tuscarawas. It's 11 counties total. Takes about 2 hours and 47 minutes to get from one end to the other. It's a mix of urban as well as rural, lots of farmland there. It's a byproduct of the gerrymandering that's been going on in Ohio that I'm sure you're aware of, sir. And we have an initiative hoping to get on the November ballot as well. My district used to be strong blue, used to be one of the bluest places in the state and one of the bluest districts in the nation. But as with a lot of these hardcore blue districts, they've shifted over to red over the last few decades, very slowly and surely. And, it was a 32-point Trump-leaning district, and we brought that down to a -9 for me. And look, I understand it's a big accomplishment, but we ran this to win this, and we didn't. So we came up short. And the one positive thing is that's what I was able to accomplish in 3 months with around $20,000.
And your opponent spent 30 times as much, over 600,000 to your 22,000, right?
Yes. And it's like he did next to no campaigning until the last week when he started getting scared. And it shows the power of actually getting out there, being boots on the ground, put over 11,000 miles on my car in 3 months, went through 3 pairs of shoes, just getting out there, meeting with the voters.
Talk about
it's hard to even call it was. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, talk about the importance of knocking on doors. By the way, Mike's an Air Force vet, and he's about to get court-martialed if he calls me sir one more time. So it's Ken and Mike from now on. That's okay. Navy, Air Force, we can still get along. Talk about the importance of knocking on doors. Like, your Republican opponent just spent money. That's all he did. He put out glossy ads. He sent mailers. He didn't talk to people. Mm-hmm. You talked to people and narrowed that 30-point Trump margin down to single digits.
Mm-hmm. Look, it's when I started this, so I had no interest in politics at all. And then January 6th happened. And the long and short of it is too many people have died to get our nation to where it is for us to just throw it away on propaganda and authoritarianism. It's just it's not tenable for me. And so that's why I decided to run. And when I first started this, right, Air Force Academy training, I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to meet with these groups and ask them, what do you actually want from the federal government? People are like, oh, that's a good idea. As if it was the first time a politician ever said, hey, I'm going to talk to the people to see what their needs and wants are. Look, it's vitally important. And just doing this, I got people in the primary that were registered Republicans to pull the Democratic ballot. I know I got registered Republicans to vote for me, in this past special election on June 11th. A key case in point is, one time I was down at the East Palestine Street Fair and, going around handing out flyers to people. And I talked to this couple. They kind of blew me off. Anyway, I moved on. And then they flagged me down and they were like, you say you're going to help farmers. What are you going to do for farmers? And I said, well, our initial plan, our initial focus is to decrease corporate control over our farmers and to get farmers out of these debt spirals. And I said, but from talking to farmers these last few months, I saw that there's the pattern of them not being able to hand down their farms to their next of kin. And I said, so my first initiative, if and when I win in June 11th, which didn't happen, my first initiative was going to be to push through a farmstead exemption, so that farmers are actually able to hand down their family farms and keep it within their family. And he said, that's exactly what we're going through right now. Right. Those are the kind of moments, I would have never had the learnings to figure out what their personal needs were as, as a group, as the electorate. And then secondly, I wouldn't have had that experience right there, which I got to tell you was one of the most touching moments on the campaign, because it's like, holy crap, we're actually coming up with the real things that can actually help people. Felt amazing.
Yeah. We're going to be realistic. It is a tough fight. It is almost a suicide mission. Can you talk about the value of those fights, though? I guess in the first case, and I'll just put this out there, you might win. There are examples of people getting frustrated enough with the system, with the Republicans in this environment, that they take a chance and they vote for the guy who spent $22,000 instead of $600,000. You might win, but in the likelihood that, this is the first race of many for you and you have to take another shot at it, what is the value of fighting in places like the Ohio 6th?
Look, we saw a major shift. Well, first of all, let's talk about economics right quick. Right. When globalization is just the natural stages that capitalism goes through, as laid out by Adam Smith 250 years ago. Right. While we had transitioned the economy, we didn't transition our workforce. And both parties left behind huge swaths of our population. And specifically in the 6th, where we used to be a manufacturing powerhouse, less huge swaths of these populations gone. Right now, we both understand that the right is using fear and hate politics to get these voters to not actually think of what solutions are, but to focus on culture wars and the finger pointing that always happens when authoritarians take over. And that's why it comes down to, it is so vitally important, because these groups of voters feel abandoned, right? No one's going to them and talking to them. What are their problems? Right. Sir, I know you ran in Ohio. You probably face this as well. I get letters from sitting state reps as well as candidates saying, hey, did you get any help from ODP on the financial side of things? Right. And it's like, no.
Ohio Democratic Party.
Sorry. And so it's like, how do we expect to win back these voters? How do we expect to actually prove to them we actually care about them unless we're fighting? And when so my Facebook page, Kripchak for Congress, it's on there, I see the posts from people who have especially been on this movement right from the beginning saying, hey, people are finally starting to see, after we started getting all this national attention, people are finally starting to see the movement we're beginning. And and sir, as a former officer, you know the power of that terminology, right? There is buy-in, right? The voters are actually believing in what we're doing. And it's my job to believe in hope, right? As a politician, as someone running to represent the people, that's my job. But the fact that we're getting buy-in from people who had no hope in a Democratic candidate actually doing this is how things are built. And of course, sir, I am going to push back. We could absolutely win this. We could absolutely. I mean, if we get the support from the Democratic Party, like we need, and I mean, in my perspective, this helps us deliver this district to Sherrod. Right. Because he's someone, I don't know if you've met him, sir, but he's someone, when I first met him, I was like, holy crap, he's actually one of the good ones. He actually he actually believes what he's saying, which was a great lesson for me to say, hey, it is possible once you're in the game to do that. And then also it made me a champion for him as well. Yep.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I mean, a couple of elements in your response for the people of the Ohio 6th, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You have to build something in order to win them back. You have to build that infrastructure. You have to build that faith in the Democratic Party again. But between now and November, every vote that you flip from Trump to Biden or from Republicans to Sherrod in a place like the Ohio 6th is absolutely essential. So fights in places like the Ohio 6th, in my mind, are actually the best return on investment, even if they're uphill battles, even if the prognosticators say you don't have a chance. You get so much bang for the buck in a place like that for the statewide race, for the presidential, and for building that movement that you're talking about. Mike, anything to add? We'll definitely put a link in the show notes, but what message do you want to leave us with?
A message ultimately to other Democrats that are running. Get out there, meet the people where they're at, listen. I'm sure your political advisors are saying the same things mine were. But you got to be open to what they want, and you got to be open to adapting your plans to meet them at their needs. If anyone who would want to contribute, I greatly appreciate that. As you heard my financials going into this, I mean, it's still an uphill battle, right? As much attention as we're getting, there's still a lot of belief to be built here. But we're doing it. Kripchak.com, Kilo Romeo India Papa Charlie Hotel Alpha Kilo.com. Got my contribute button there. And if you want to see any of my speeches or spread it around to help build belief, because this is a movement, this is going to have to be national over time for us to get enough votes in there to the House to make a real, true difference for the people. Kripchak for Congress on Facebook.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mike. Good having you. Let's do it again. Hopefully when you win in November.
Doing the sir. Sorry.
It's all right. I'll let it slide. We'll work on it next time. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, Ken.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I have been so humbled by the support of this audience and the speed at which this show has grown. You are why I and the whole team here do this. If you're interested in bonus content, check out my Patreon page. It's free to sign up, and there's an option to donate as well. The link is right there and in the show notes. Thanks again.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.